All right, so where we left our game yesterday is we made this little red box, or the red emitter kind of go back and forth along a line path. You must think, isn't that kind of strange to have a little red box going back and forth? And yes, it is a little strange. We're going to be doing the same thing with the green, then the yellow, and eventually, just so you know, we're going to hide the boxes so they don't actually show up. Um, but you get the idea. So let's go ahead and the next we're going to be working on is what's called a multiple node path. So the red line, we had two nodes, one at the beginning, one at the end, and it went back and forth at the speed of 20. The next one we're going to be doing with green, where the green's going to go, and it's hard to see here, but it's basically going to start here. It's going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's a multi-node path. Multi means many. So multi-nodes and multi-dots. So we need to go through and create each of these lines with a zigzag look to it, and they need to have a speed of 30. So it's going to move a little bit faster. And once again, it needs to loop and reverse the movement so that it continues along the path once it finishes. So let's go ahead and come over here and we'll follow the steps. So applying what you've learned, change the movement of the emitter green object to a path and edit the path. So here's the green. I want to change the movement. So I click on the movement tab from static, which means stopped, into the path. And then once we have a path, we need to edit the path. And this is one where I'm going to blow it up full screen in a moment. But we're going to change the path color to green, and then click on the new line and draw a path diagonally upward and off the frame, and then new line and do it back down onto the frame. So it'll look kind of like a zigzag. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. So it's just here, movement path. I'm going to edit. Let's change the color from black to green so that it matches and we can see what's happening. We do want loop the movement and reverse it end. And so we're going to go to new line, and you'll notice that just like before, it starts at the object and it moves with my mouse. So I'm going to go zigzag, and it doesn't have to be exact because it just doesn't. So I'm going to click here. So there's my first path that's going to go up, and I do want it to be a change of 30 as a speed. And I should also change this node. I don't want to move it like that. That node to 30 as well. All right, so let me click on this node. There it is. Okay, so now we have this node blinking, kind of the finalizing end one. We're going to create another one. Notice how we have a line now from our new node. We're going to come back down like this. So now we have a new one. And once again, change the speed to 30. We're going to create another path, and we're going to be doing back and forth like this. So we have some sort of a zigzag, changing it to 30 each time. And you can see it's kind of repetitive, but you just basically do it over and over and over again until you get a zigzag movement with each of the nodes. And what we're doing each time with these paths is the paths are going to be basically moving these up and down, up and down, up and down. And we're going to run a collision course with a different object. And each time it collides, it's going to be spawning a new object. Just kind of a interesting way of doing this. And you'll see what it looks like in a little bit. Let's do one more. All right, so now we have our nice zigzag. Looks just like this. I'm going to reposition a few of these because I don't like the way that they look. And I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I'm going to make sure this comes down a little bit and a little bit better zigzag. All right, so now each of these has a 30 because I already changed it, but once again, I want to make sure that you have them as 30 as well. So click on each one and make sure that it does say 30 before pressing OK. All right, so if we run our frame, you'll notice the green, it goes off, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, kind of like that. And it reverses and continues back. And you want it to loop, meaning once it gets there, it should keep going. Okay, so it's exactly what I wanted to do. So now we did the green emitter object and then close the game window, which we just did. So don't forget to save it. All right, so next what we're going to do is do something what's called a random emitter. Remember, the word random just means things that happen without prediction. And when you run these right here, you'll notice that they hit at different times. Hit there, and then they stop, they hit again, and then this thing's chasing, and eventually it'll hit the red one again. Boom, there it is again. So you'll notice every time that it hits the red thing, what you can do is you can use that moment as an opportunity to create new asteroids. So you're basically programming the computer to use moments that are naturally happening to make something else happen. So that's called a random emitter. So basically, what we're going to do is program that to happen. So game frame and the event editor, we already have that. We're going to be looking at the event editor. We're going to program this pseudocode to the new condition. So if the emitter red object collides with the emitter green object, then create a meteor large object at 0, 0 relative to the emitter red object. So it's going to be creating that. And we need a new condition. So if the red emitter collisions with another object, which is the green emitter, then what will happen is it's going to create a new object. So we need that create new object. Here it is. Create an object, and we want a new meteor large object at 0, 0. So we selected meteor large, okay, at 0, 0. Not actual, but relative to the, which one did it say? Relative to the red emitter. So that way it's randomly going to select a spot across the screen to reappear as a new one. Okay, and press OK. So now if there's a collision between the red and the green emitter object, which once again, they're going to be hidden, but they'll still be running in the background, then it will create a new asteroid at 0, 0, which means right on where the red emitter is. Okay, run the frame and destroy many of the meteors to test how the red emitter object spawns new objects in the closed game window. So go ahead and run it, and you'll notice that a whole bunch of new meteors are showing up wherever the red one and the green one touch. Okay, so there was a few of them there. Okay, next, program the pseudocode to spawn meteor M objects. So if the green emitter object collides with the emitter yellow object, which doesn't happen yet, but we're going to make that happen in a moment. So if the green emitter object collides with the yellow emitter object, then create a meteor medium at 0, 0 relative to the green. So if green collides with yellow, then create a new medium object at 0, 0 relative to, and it said the green emitter object. And press OK. So now we're going to have some new large meteors and new medium meteors showing up at the green and the red ones at different places. Then another pseudocode for the small. So if the emitter red object collides with the emitter yellow object, so if the emitter red collides with the yellow, then create a small meteor at 0, 0 relative to the yellow object. There we go. Okay, so these are going to be used to basically create new objects to spawn on your screen. So run the frame, test to see if all three types of meteors are being created, and check to see if there's too many meteors are created. Close the game window if they're done testing. And the way that you can change to make it so that if there are too many, you can space out the way that the path went up and down on the zigzag. You can also adjust the speed a little bit. So those are two different ways to go through and do that. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, because once again, your game looks like this, a whole bunch of meteors are created, and then small ones are created, big ones are created. Let's see if any mediums show up. Oh, the yellow one's not moving yet. Oops, there we go. What we're going to be doing with the physics piece is anytime that you destroy a large meteor, we're going to create a medium meteor in its place. And then anytime there's a medium meteor, we're going to create some small ones in its place. So basically, when you destroy it, they recreate, I guess, and break into pieces. Is what we're looking for. So in the game frame, we're going to look for the event line a collision between the photon and the meteor large. So collision between the photon and the meteor large. So that's this one right here, photon and meteor large. What we want to do is right click in the cell under create new object and click create object in the shortcut menu. So create new object, meteor large. We're going to create a new object, and then we're going to choose a meteor medium and press OK. And then it wants to know where to create it. We're going to create it. It says in the create object dialog box, select the meteor medium, press OK. We did that. In the relative to radio button, select meteor large. So relative to meteor large. So basically, wherever the meteor large is destroyed, that's where we're creating a new medium. And then it says enter 10 in the X and 20 in the Y. So it's going to create it right next to where it was. So you can see actually where it is. So it was in the center. Now we just moved it over just a little bit so that it'll fit better when we destroy it. It'll look better. But feel free to adjust these if you'd like. And then after that, we'll press OK to finish that particular programming. And then for the same condition, we're going to create a meter small object with an offset of -20. So for the exact same condition, so this condition here, we're going to create a medium and we're also going to create a small. So create a new object, let's create a small, and this time we're going to have an offset relative to the large of 0, -20. So when it splits, it's going to basically break off a small one and a medium size from the large. And press OK. For the same condition, create a second meteor, small object with an offset of 0, 10. This one event should result in creating 4 objects, as shown in figure 412. Explosion 1. So right here we have hopefully it stays. Explosion 1, creating a medium, creating a small, and then we're going to create one more. It's going to be another small. And this one is at 0, 10. Relative to the large. So 0, 10 relative to the large meteor. Press OK. All right, so now we have when you blow up the large, it's going to create an explosion. It's going to create a new meteor medium and then 2 meteor smalls. And so that's what it's going to look like. And it's going to, it says the offsets will prevent the meteors from overlapping and getting stuck because you don't want that to happen. And so now what you're going to do in a moment is you're going to modify the event for a collision between the photon and the meteor medium object to create 2 new meteor small objects that are offset to avoid the overlap. So an offset of your own choosing. So you're basically going to redo what we just did here with this one. So when you destroy a medium meter, you need to create 2 small ones that come off of it, and they need to be offset so that it gets stuck together. And when you're done with that, run the frame and see if it works.